Hi, I'm Allison. I never thought my son's wedding day would end up being the catalyst for such a dramatic change in all our lives. I'd spent months helping plan the perfect celebration, despite my future daughter-in-law Vanessa's increasingly difficult behavior. My son Michael loved her, so I tried my best to get along with her for his sake. "Mom, are you ready?" "The ceremony starts in 30 minutes, Michael said, poking his head into the bridal suite where I was helping with last-minute details. "Almost done, honey. Just helping your Aunt Carol with her corsage," I replied, pinning the delicate flower to my sister's dress. "You look beautiful, Allison," Carol said warmly. "That blue dress was the perfect choice." "Thanks, sis. I wanted to look nice without drawing any attention away from the bride." Michael smiled. "You both look great. I'm so glad everyone's getting along today." If only he knew how wrong he was. After the lovely ceremony, we moved to the reception. I was seated at the family table, next to Vanessa's parents, whom I'd only met twice before. "So pleased to finally spend time together," I said to Robert, Vanessa's father, a stern-looking man in an expensive suit. "Michael tells me you work for Westfield Industries?" Robert straightened his tie. "Senior Vice President of Operations? Been there 20 years? "That's impressive," I replied, trying to keep the conversation flowing. "Daddy's expecting a promotion to Executive VP next month," Vanessa interjected, appearing suddenly behind us. She'd had several glasses of champagne already, her words slightly slurred. "Then we'll be moving to the exclusive side of Lakewood Estates." "How wonderful," I said, genuinely happy for them. "Congratulations, Robert." "Nothing's finalized," he muttered, looking uncomfortable. Vanessa's eyes narrowed as she looked me up and down. "Mother, you should have worn something more slimming. That dress makes you look like a fat pig squeezed into blue satin." The table fell silent. My son wasn't present, having been pulled away by the photographer. "Vanessa!" her mother gasped. "Apologize immediately." "Why? It's true," Vanessa snapped, swaying slightly. "She's embarrassing us in front of everyone who matters." I felt my face burning with humiliation as several nearby guests turned to stare. "That's enough," Robert hissed, pulling his daughter aside. I excused myself and fled to the restroom, tears stinging my eyes. As I tried to compose myself, the door opened and a distinguished-looking older woman entered. "Are you all right, dear?" she asked kindly. I couldn't help overhearing that dreadful scene. "I'll be fine," I managed, dabbing my eyes. "Just need a moment." "I'm Eleanor Westfield," she said, offering me an embroidered handkerchief. And that young woman's behavior was inexcusable. My head snapped up. "Westfield? As in Westfield Industries?" "My husband James founded it 40 years ago," she nodded. "We're here representing the corporate table. Robert invited us personally." "I'm Allison Parker, mother of the groom," I said, shaking her extended hand. "Well, Allison, if that's how Vanessa treats family at her own wedding, I'm concerned about the culture she might bring to our company functions. Robert's been pushing for his daughter to join our corporate outreach team." "She's hoping to work for your company too?" I asked, surprised. "James and I were considering it as a favor to Robert. He's been angling for that executive VP position for months," Eleanor explained, checking her makeup in the mirror. "But character matters greatly to us." "I shouldn't discuss family issues with you," I said, suddenly uncomfortable. "It's my son's wedding day after all." "Of course, dear. But do take my card," Eleanor insisted, pressing it into my palm. "I host a charity luncheon every month. You should join us. We could use someone with your grace under pressure." As she left, I stared at the elegant business card in my hand, my mind racing with possibilities I never would have considered before Vanessa's cruel words echoed in my ears. 2 weeks after the disastrous wedding reception, I still hadn't told Michael about the incident. He and Vanessa were honeymooning in Bali, and I didn't want to ruin their trip. Instead, I called the number on Eleanor Westfield's card. "Eleanor, it's Allison Parker from the Wellington wedding." "Allison, I'm delighted you called. Are you free for lunch tomorrow at the Lakeside Club?" "I'd love to, but I'm not a member," I replied hesitantly. "As my guest, dear. 1 o'clock?" The next day, I found myself seated across from Eleanor on the club's terrace, with a breathtaking view of the lake. "You look lovely today, Allison," Eleanor said. "That color brings out your eyes." "Thank you. I'm still a bit nervous about being here." "Nonsense. Now tell me, what do you do professionally?" "I'm an event coordinator for the city's Arts Foundation," I explained. "Mostly fundraisers and gallery openings." Eleanor's eyes lit up. "Really? We've been looking for someone to organize our annual charity gala. Our previous coordinator retired, and we need someone with fresh ideas." "I'd be happy to help," I offered. "It's exactly the kind of work I enjoy." "Wonderful. Let's discuss it over lunch." As we ate, Eleanor gradually steered the conversation toward her husband's company. "James is concerned about our community image," she confided, "especially with this new expansion. The right public relations approach is crucial." "I imagine so," I agreed. "Public perception can make or break a business venture?" "Precisely. Which brings me to an uncomfortable subject," Eleanor said, lowering her voice. "Robert Sullivan has been pushing his daughter for a position in our corporate communications department." "Vanessa?" I couldn't hide my surprise. "She studied communications, but I wasn't aware she was interested in corporate work." "Oh, yes, quite insistent. Robert claims she'd be perfect for liaising with our high-profile clients. But after witnessing her behavior at the wedding..." I shifted uncomfortably. "I shouldn't discuss family matters." "Actually, you should," came a deep voice from behind me. A distinguished gentleman approached our table. "James Westfield," he introduced himself, taking the seat beside Eleanor. "My wife has told me about you." "All good things, I hope," I replied nervously. "Indeed. Eleanor says you have excellent event planning credentials." 20 years experience, I confirmed. "And how is your relationship with your new daughter-in-law now?" he asked directly. I hesitated. "We haven't spoken since the wedding. My son doesn't know about what happened." "Interesting," James mused. "Robert Sullivan has been telling everyone at the office that his daughter has a special connection to the Westfield family now and is practically guaranteed the communications position." "James," Eleanor chided gently, "don't put Allison in an awkward position." "Not at all," James countered. "I'm simply gathering information. Character matters in our organization, especially for someone who would represent us publicly." "I understand," I said carefully, "but I don't want to create problems for my son's marriage." "What if I told you Robert has been taking credit for your son's financial analysis work?" James asked suddenly. "Michael submitted some excellent market projections through Robert's department last quarter. Robert presented them as his own work." My jaw dropped. "How do you know Michael? He never mentioned meeting you." "He didn't. But I make it my business to know who's really driving value in my company. Your son has talent, but Robert has been blocking his advancement while promoting Vanessa's interests." I don't know what to say," I stammered. "Say you'll help us understand what we're really dealing with here," James suggested, "before we make any decisions about the Sullivan family's future with Westfield Industries." A month later, I found myself in the elegant reception area of Westfield Industries headquarters, nervously adjusting my blazer. As the newly appointed coordinator for their annual charity gala, I had legitimate business here today, but I also had another purpose. "Mrs. Parker, Mr. Westfield will see you now," the receptionist announced. As I entered the expansive corner office, I was surprised to see not only James and Eleanor Westfield, but also Robert Sullivan and my son Michael. "Mom, what are you doing here?" Michael asked, clearly confused. "I might ask you the same thing," I replied, trying to stay calm. James gestured to an empty chair. "Please join us, Allison. We were just discussing some interesting developments." Robert's face was flushed with anger. "This is outrageous. You can't possibly believe these accusations." "What accusations?" I asked, looking between the faces in the room. "Mom, I've been working on financial projections that somehow kept getting credited to other team members," Michael explained. "Mr. Westfield called me in today to discuss it." "And coincidentally, you're here too," Robert sneered at me. "Did you orchestrate this little ambush?" Robert, James said sharply. Your position is precarious enough. I'd advise against making unfounded accusations. The door opened again, and Vanessa stormed in, her face contorted with rage. Daddy, they're saying I won't get the communications position you promised. Vanessa, this is a private meeting, Robert said through gritted teeth. I don't care. I already told everyone I got the job. She spotted me and her eyes narrowed dangerously. What are you doing here? Allison is coordinating our charity gala, Eleanor explained calmly. Her? Vanessa scoffed. The fat pig who can barely dress herself? Michael stood up abruptly. What did you just call my mother? Oh, please. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Like you haven't noticed. I was just being honest at the wedding. The wedding? Michael turned to me, his expression horrified. Mom, what is she talking about? Your wife called me a fat pig at your wedding reception, I said quietly, in front of her parents and several guests. That's a lie, Vanessa shouted. Daddy, tell them. Robert looked away, clearly uncomfortable. Is it true? Michael demanded, turning to Robert. After a long moment, Robert nodded reluctantly. Vanessa had too much champagne. She spoke inappropriately. But that's hardly grounds for denying her a position she's qualified for. Qualified? James raised an eyebrow. Her resume claims she managed 3 major corporate events that we now know were actually organized by Allison for the Arts Foundation. Did you think we wouldn't verify her experience? You've been checking up on me? Vanessa shrieked. Standard background check for all potential executives, James replied evenly. Just as we investigated the source of the financial projections Robert has been taking credit for. I never claimed they were entirely my work, Robert protested weakly. The email thread suggests otherwise, James countered, sliding a folder across the desk. As does the testimony of 3 department heads. You set me up, Robert accused, pointing at me. You orchestrated this whole thing because Vanessa hurt your feelings. I did nothing of the sort, I replied calmly. I simply accepted a job offer from Eleanor to coordinate their charity event. Everything else was already in motion before I became involved. Liar! Vanessa lunged toward me, but Michael caught her arm. That's enough, he said firmly. You owe my mother an apology. I'll never apologize to that manipulative bit. Miss Sullivan! James's authoritative voice cut through the room. That's quite enough. Security will escort you from the building. Robert, remain here. We have more to discuss about your employment status. You can't fire me, Robert said, his voice suddenly uncertain. I've been with this company for 20 years, and apparently taking credit for others' work for much of that time. James replied coldly. Michael, would you and your mother please wait in the conference room next door? I'll speak with you shortly. As the security guard led a sobbing, screaming Vanessa away, I caught Eleanor's eye. She gave me a small, significant nod. 6 months later, I put the finishing touches on the decorations for the Westfield Industries annual charity gala. The event had come together beautifully, raising over $2 million for children's education initiatives. Allison, this is spectacular, Eleanor said, approaching with a champagne flute in hand. The board is tremendously impressed. Thank you. It's been a labor of love, I replied, accepting the compliment with a smile. Have you heard from Vanessa recently? Eleanor asked carefully. I shook my head. The divorce was finalized last month. Michael has moved on. And Robert? Still struggling to find a position, from what I understand. No one in the industry will touch him after the ethics investigation. James joined us, resplendent in his tuxedo. Allison, I'd like you to meet our new Executive Vice President of Financial Analysis, he said, ushering Michael forward. My son beamed, looking more confident than I'd seen him in years. Mom, the event is amazing. Everyone's talking about it. I'm so proud of you, honey, I said, straightening his bow tie. You've earned this promotion? Speaking of earned success, James interjected. Eleanor and I have been discussing your future, Allison. We'd like to offer you a permanent position heading our corporate events and charitable foundation. Are you serious? I gasped. Entirely, Eleanor confirmed. You've proven yourself exceptionally capable and, more importantly, a person of integrity. Unlike some people we used to know, Michael added wryly. As if summoned by our conversation, Vanessa appeared at the entrance to the ballroom. Her designer dress couldn't hide how much weight she'd lost, her face gaunt with stress. The security guards moved toward her, but James subtly waved them back. She approached our group hesitantly. Allison, could I speak with you privately? Anything you have to say can be said here, I replied firmly. Vanessa swallowed hard. I want to apologize. What I said at the wedding was cruel and untrue. I was jealous of your relationship with Michael and felt threatened. I've been in therapy, and I realize now how toxic my behavior was. I appreciate you saying that, I said carefully. So you forgive me? Her eyes brightened hopefully. No, I said simply. I acknowledge your apology, but some words can't be unsaid. Some actions have permanent consequences. But I've changed, she protested. Daddy and I have both learned our lesson. He can barely make rent now, and I'm working as a receptionist. Surely that's punishment enough. That's not punishment, Vanessa, Michael said coldly. That's simply life without the privileges you abused. There's a difference. You brought this on yourselves, I added. Not through one mistake, but through a pattern of dishonesty and cruelty. I wish you well in your new life, but our paths won't cross again. Security will see you out, James said with finality. As Vanessa was escorted away, Eleanor squeezed my hand. You handled that with remarkable grace. Not grace, I corrected her. Self-respect. Something I should have exercised long ago. Later that evening, as the gala wound down, Michael joined me on the terrace overlooking the city lights. You know what's funny, Mom? He said, sipping his drink. Vanessa thought marrying me would guarantee her success, but she never understood what real success looks like. And what does it look like to you? I asked. He smiled, throwing an arm around my shoulders. It looks like someone who gets knocked down, dusts herself off, and rebuilds better than before. It looks like you, Mom. As we stood there together, I realized that the best revenge wasn't seeing Vanessa and Robert lose everything. It was discovering just how much I could gain once I stopped letting others define my worth. Have you ever stood up to someone who underestimated you? Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tales of sweet justice served cold.